If you're a new RMIT student or an RMIT student who has been kept refreshing RMIT Workday and has not yet received a job or has received a lot of unfortunately emails, this video is for you.
Started happening when you walked away. So that's why
A few months ago, I was in your position. I was applying to numerous jobs, specifically at RMIT Workday, but only getting unfortunate leads as emails. Eventually, I did progress to the interview rounds, which would also turn into rejection. And that absolutely terrified the crap out of me because my bank balance was not increasing, but the expenses weren't decreasing either. And that is enough to terrify any international student. But now I have a job. Now I work at RMIT and I am so happy with the job I get because the work environment is wonderful, the pay is amazing, and the opportunities you get even more amazing. And here's how I reached to that point. Tip number one, start before you need to actually apply for the job. And here's what I mean. It's pretty normal that once you arrive in Melbourne, you're like, oh, I'll take it chill for a couple of months because I have so and so money for so and so months. Here's the thing, this idea is wonderful and it would absolutely work if everyone had the same idea. But the thousands of students who have entered Australia along with you do not have the same idea. In fact, they're like, let me start applying now. And that puts you back. In truth, you're not back. It's just that someone is way ahead of you, which is why you need to start applying to jobs way before you are ready for them. Because the amount of time it takes for them to look at your application, to process them, and to get back, insane. Okay, like I seriously don't understand why it takes so much time, but that's how it is. Which is why you need to start applying to jobs way before you know you need them. But also, if you don't want to apply for jobs because you're like, Ranisha, even you didn't do that with your team. But what I did do was volunteer. I volunteered during my very first week at RMIT. It was my orientation and I was volunteering. That is how fast forward is the word. That is how forward I was in my terms of thinking. Because I knew I was not yet mentally ready for a job because I was so exhausted. But I knew that I could and that I should volunteer because the opportunities that volunteering and networking opens is insane. Tip number two, know where to look. This is so incredibly important. Since this video is mainly in terms of how to get a job at RMIT, that's what I'm going to be talking about here. So the first thing you have to do is go to RMIT Workdays. RMIT Workdays is a job portal where if they are hiring for a particular job, that's the place you're going to see it in. Roles like student life ambassador, student life assistant, just all kinds of roles. It's always at RMIT Workdays. So you should always be on the lookout for it. In fact, I would suggest making it a habit to look for it every week. Like it should really be ingrained in you. Make it as a checklist. Please note that they mostly hire during the end of the semester or right before the start of a new semester. So you've got some time in your hands, which is perfect to put into practice tip number one. The second thing that I'll be talking about within this point is Career Connect. Now, a lot of people think Career Connect is it's just like any other association. No, it's not. Mm-hmm. RMIT Career Connect really, really helps you out with a lot of things such as fixing your resume, fixing your cover letter, helping set up mock interviews, and they also have numerous sessions. If you're joining RMIT for the first time, you're going to be seeing this at the orientation. And I would highly, highly recommend that when you don't have classes, that you attend whatever you can. Because again, it's all about the advice, the expertise, and the connections that you get to make. Tip number three, and this is my favorite tip to talk about. I have also talked about this on Instagram because, again, it's my favorite thing, but that is to volunteer. Volunteering has done wonders for me. In the first tip, I had mentioned how I volunteered at my orientation itself, which is insane, right? Like when I told this later on to people, they were like, huh? But I just really did not find anything wrong in it. I knew I wasn't going to be there for the orientation like all the freaking days. So when I saw this opportunity, I grabbed it. And this opportunity in some way did help me get this job that I have right now. So you see, it might have taken 6 months, but this 6 months was really important for me to gain experience, to gain connections, to meet new people, and to finally be a part of the community that I so wish to be a part of. I know a lot of y'all might ask me this, and that is how to volunteer. Now, if I'm honest, I have to ask like maybe my colleague or my classmates because I kind of forgot. But if you do want to be a part of ROSU and like you want to be a volunteer for ROSU, 90% of the time during the start of the semester, they do put it up in their forms. Either way, it is really important. I'm just going to add it in this point itself that y'all please check out your emails from the start to the end, because if you subscribe to Career Connect and all that stuff, you do get like job opportunities in your email and just encouraging stuff like peer support. Peer support is basically where you talk to a particular peer in the university itself. And if you're going through stress and if you just need someone to talk to, but you feel like, oh, I can't really tell that to my friend, these group of people are a wonderful group of people to go to. And yeah, that's what I remember about the volunteering with. So I wanted to share that with you. The next tip, and a tip number 4, is to treat every opportunity like it matters, because it does. I see a lot of people, whenever they take volunteer shifts or just any kind of shift, they don't really take it that seriously because they're like, oh, this is not what I really wanted to do. Let me give you a harsh reality. It doesn't matter what you want to do. Until you actually get to do what you want to do, it is very important that you give your 100% in whatever you're doing, because you never know who is noticing, who is watching you, and who has the absolute power to provide you with the amazing opportunities that can literally change your life. So it is very important that no matter if it's a big role, it's a small role, it's a part time role, it's a full time role, I don't care. Give your 100% to it and treat it like it's your dream role, because that does miracles. The next tip is to tailor your resume. Now, this is so important and I cannot stress on this enough, because I used to send the same generic resumes to every job, and then I would wonder, like, why did I not get the job? Brother, you're sending the same resume everywhere. What is wrong with you? I know this is hard work, and sometimes I myself used to be like, what the heck? Like, 90% of the time, they're just like, gonna skip through my resume. Why do I need to? Because I need the job. The answer is that simple, because you need the job. So you have to put in the work. It is very important that you read the role that you're applying for, and then you look through your resume and see how it can be altered in such a way that it makes sense, that the HR or the person who is hiring is like, this person is a good fit for our company or our organization. This is my favorite tip to talk about, and that is to personalize your cover letter. If you're someone like me, I used to have the most generic cover letter with pointers and just all of that normal stuff. Now, even if someone wasn't using AI, they most likely would have similar things written to me, because that is how generic it was. And then I did a 180. Like, I genuinely did a 180, and I started writing about my own story. It obviously had the keywords that the role was looking for. Like, for example, if it was a role where they needed supportive people, people who engage with others, I made sure I had those keywords in, but it still was my cover letter. It was my story, it had my experiences, which made all the difference. Because even if I did not get those other roles, when I did a 180 on this cover letter, is when I started getting responses, when I started getting interviews, and I ultimately got the job. So you get it? Do not make your cover letter really normal. Personalize it. Personalize it as much as possible while keeping it professional. The next tip is to learn how to tell your story. Over the past few interviews I've given and over the past few rejections that I have received, I have noticed one big failure of mine, and that is I never really understood how to tell the story. And this is absolutely crazy, right? Because I have done so many things, but I just wasn't really able to master the art of telling my story. So you need, firstly, do not repeat your resume. They have already read it. You wouldn't get through the stage if they hadn't read your resume. So don't spend your time repeating it, but rather see how you can tell your own story in a really personal way. Like, when I was applying for this particular role, which is the role of a student life assistant, I remember saying, when they were asking about a particular thing and a particular situation, that, oh, I had an interaction with so and so when I was volunteering with so and so, and this is how I helped them. And I, this is what I learned from that experience as well. This is what makes you different from the other people who are just saying the most generic things on earth. And I really hope you're not using AI for this, because if everyone is using AI and everyone has the same answer, the interviewer is obviously gonna know. So please don't pull that crap, okay? But when you volunteered, at the least you must have volunteered somewhere in your uni. Maybe it was just to like pack up some things or set up a stall or whatever. Trust me, that matters. You can say like, oh, like they needed help and I offered it. I set up the stall and ensured that everything was right. I felt like a particular stand was shaking, so I only left after ensuring that it was safe and after the individual had put their items on that stall to make sure nothing was moving and that no inconvenience could have been caused. Aren't you surprised? Aren't you surprised? Because I just made up this. Obviously, I didn't do any of this and I just gave you an example. But see how this differentiates you from other people? Which is why it is so important to learn how to tell your story. As I wrap up this video, I wish I could have personally assured all of you a job, but that's not how it really works. I myself was struggling up until a couple of months back as to how to get a job, which is crazy, right? Because why is it so bad? Why is the job market so bad? But I promise you, these 8 tips will definitely help you improve your job application process and at least make you reach to the point of interviews, which is very important because at least the person becomes familiar with your face and work. And as long as you keep going, in ever case they need it, they'll contact you, which is amazing, right? But I hope this video helped. If you all have any further questions, please drop them in the comment section below. I usually respond to any questions you have on YouTube. I do receive a lot of Instagram DMs, but just for a lot of reasons, I'm not respond to all of them, but I do respond to all of my YouTube comments. So this is your place to ask if you have any questions, and I will see you all on the next one. Bye-bye.
Terrible things started happening when you walked away.